And first of all, I want to find out what is winding up David Mitchell.
Yes, it's people who get annoyed when you don't remember them. I would like them to go in the room.
OK.
Whoever the hell they are.
That was beautiful. Started like rain on a roof, but then...
Yeah, it grew on them. Look, I'm not saying it's good to not remember someone who you've met before. And if you don't remember someone, obviously you should try and conceal it. I accept that. You know, if you can't remember someone's name or you're not sure whether you've met them at all or whatever, just, you know, nod and smile, say nice to see you. Don't make it obvious. You know, it's out there that you've met this person before and you haven't remembered them. Now, I've not been remembered by people, and I've never made a thing of it. I don't think there's any point in making a thing of it because something has happened somewhere deep in the workings of someone's brain. And there's nothing to be done about it. The remembering has not happened. In fact, the person who's angry that I haven't remembered them, I've only got their word for it that I've met them at all. But, you know, nevertheless, I do believe them because I am quite a thoughtless, forgetful person. But why get angry with something that my brain has unconsciously failed to do? What am I supposed to do about it? Go back in time to the moment when I supposedly met this person and then sort of do some homework afterwards, revise the people I bumped into at that party so that when I meet them next time, I'll go, oh, yes, hello, Steve, or whatever. No, that's not workable. Leave me alone. It's like shouting at children for not being clever enough. There's no point in getting annoyed. There's no point in saying, I wish your brain was structured in a kinder, more caring way. That's just not the way social interaction between humans works. We don't address head-on the issue of whether a person is more or less nice. So I say, if someone doesn't remember you, live with it, be bitter inside, don't get outwardly annoyed.
I took my mother-in-law to A&E a couple of weeks ago, and a nurse was dealing with me, and this porter said, he's off the telly. And she said, oh, is it really? And she was staring at me. It's a bit embarrassing. And then she said, what's your name? I'll Google you.
Oh, God.
So I gave her my name and waited. And she said, do you host Room 101? And I said, yeah, I do. And she said, that's one of my favourite programmes. How are you with names, Judy?
I've become quite good at pretending I remember people and I just say hi there. I was in Blackpool a couple of years ago with Sunetra Sarkar, who's an actress on Casualty, and this woman was coming towards us and she stopped rigid in front of us and she said, I know you. And luckily she wasn't pointing at me, she was pointing at Sunetra and she goes, do you remember me? And she was quite aggressive and Sunetra says, no, I'm terribly sorry, I don't. And the woman said, I know where I know you from, prison.
And was there a little bit of doubt in your mind?
No, we just ran away.
I was doing a book signing and a woman came up... My family was there, and the woman came up to me and said, I don't know if you remember me, we had a one-night stand in 1997.
You see, that's polite.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely said thank you.
But, you know, she's saying... I won't speculate as to whether it is accurate or not, but she's saying you've had sex. But even so, she's polite enough to think that maybe you've forgotten the encounter. Help you remember. I think that's extremely well-mannered.
And she's attached a year to it as well, so she's given me some... I'm able to narrow it down.
Yeah.
It's like Google Earth. I've just closed it in just a little bit.
I'm with you. Well, why get offended by it? If it was me, I'd feel bad that you didn't remember me rather than feeling annoyed that you didn't remember me.
Yeah, I mean, there's an onus on a person to be at least slightly memorable.
Yeah.
Is that something? Don't get angry at me that you're so forgettable. Get angry at your personality and the world. It's not my fault.
Sometimes you remember people for being horrible.
Yes,
Mary
everyone
Vale.
remembered Hitler's name.
Yeah? Yeah. Just the surname you've got, but...
Yeah. Just call him Herr Hitler. Don't let on that you can't remember his first name.
Here's an aide de memoire that a wife put together for her husband. This is a sign that she left on the door so he didn't forget his lunch.
What I find regrettable there is she obviously has decided her husband is just obsessed with breasts and vaginas, and yet she's
Hold on,
still...
where's the vagina?
Well, because
That's
the
an arrow. That's a downward arrow.
Oh, I see. I assume... What I was thinking is she was thinking that he would look first at the breast and then downwards towards the groin. There you go. There's no point in hiding it now. It has been televised.
What's upsetting David Mitchell?
Sugar lumps. You take a commodity that people want to decide how much they want, and you congeal it in such a way as to prescribe a minimum dose. You don't get that with ketchup. Put as much ketchup on or as little as you like. You don't have to put a minimum of that sized clod of it. Sugar exists as a powder in a granulated form. Why turn it into lumps? What are you doing? You're only limiting its usage. You're not extending its usage. So, there you go. Sugar lumps. Why do they exist? Stop doing it. Stop congealing sugar into lumps.
I don't know why it exists, actually.
And do you know what? Well, one argument you could make. Let me play devil's advocate, and I mean devils. They're devils. These is you could say, well, it's a useful way to take, you know, an amount of sugar, you know, that you can then hold it, such as a sugar sachet. And obviously, a sugar sachet that involves paper. That's worse for the environment. However, there exists, and I have seen this, and the people who make these are the real satans of the world. Sugar lumps in sachets. A lump of sugar in a little plastic. Why is that allowed to exist? What's the point of that? The only defence for the lump, the sugar lump that allows bowls of sugar in cafes to get dirtier and dirtier and dirtier, and people have, oh, I'll have that one, oh, that's a bit of a wonky one, you know, this disgusting thing. The only defence is a certain level of convenience, and then someone decides, well, actually, let's take the sachet that also provides that level of convenience and put a lump in it. And these aren't sugar sachets that have been left in the wet or something. This is a deliberately formed sugar lump put in a sachet. Can you imagine anything more diabolical? Just drop forth.
I think with sugar lumps, probably every sugar lump in a bowl in a cafe has been handled by at least 60 to 100 toddlers.
Yeah, you're preaching to the converted. But what I'm saying is, if you've decided, OK, sugar lumps are disgusting, let's put sugar in sachets to limit small amounts of it, why? Why? Render the sugar into a lump before you put it in a sachet. Why?
Because then the toddler germs won't get on the sugar lump you want to use.
But you don't need... The unlumpen sugar has the same sweetening effect. You don't need to turn it into a lump. You can just put it in a sachet. The toddlers can't touch it. You can have half of it if you don't want the whole thing. Everyone wins.
How do they stick it together, the lump?
God knows. I've heard they get Chinese children to cry.
But you need sugar lumps to be able to feed sugar to horses.
Well, you may have hit upon the only use for the sugar lump. But firstly, the instances of equine diabetes are... and secondly, I'm sure we could design some sort of spoon for feeding sugar to horses.
Or a tube. We know they can blow out. They can probably...
Yeah, a sort of tube... You could give the
Hold on.
horse a kind of sugar.
We don't want horses snorting sugar.
Because the other argument you could make in favour of the sugar lump, but you wouldn't unless you know, came from hell. Another argument you could make is that it saves on, you know, washing a piece of cutlery, because you don't need a spoon. You can just plop it in. You still need the spoon to stir, but you shouldn't use the same spoon to spoon sugar in as to stir. That makes you a monster.
Don't you have those little tongs, though?
Oh,
Those-
yeah.
The days of those tongs are gone.
No, no.
Hardly any of those.
Not in Dunblane.
Really? The last bastion of the sugar tongs. If you're saying the only way to make the lumps hygienic is to use tongs, then you're not saving on cutlery at all. That got you.
But, as you pointed out, tongs are on the way out, and I, for one, would like to save the tong. I've got, in my house, I have sugar tongs. I have a coal fire with tongs. Any excuse to use tongs. I run a small men's clinic. I would be sad to see the end of the tong. And if you get rid of sugar lumps, that's going to be a major blow to the tong industry.
You're gonna keep the sugar lump to save the tongs.
Yeah.
This is madness.
My mum, every time she made a cup of tea, she put 2 spoons of sugar in it. And if we had visitors, she'd give them the tea and say, do you take sugar? And if they said no, she'd say, don't stir it. I swear to you, I didn't make that up. OK, so, this is tough because I think you're so right about all this. I would only say there are inane road signs, but when I'm driving on my own, I'm just glad of something to read. So I'm going to keep that in. The sugar lump, I can say, as a champion of the tong, I just can't let... Because there's nothing left.
The tongs are no good to you if the sugar lump's in a sachet. Unless you have tiny little sachet scissors.